It was late in the evening when her text arrived. "I'm home waiting for you to get back from your trip." On the surface, it seemed sweet, innocent even. But in my line of work, words rarely were just words. I smiled faintly, replying softly, "Funny, I can see you on the hidden cam." Clara, my wife of 6 years, had always craved control. In the early days, it had been subtle, almost playful, a little power game that kept things exciting. But over the past year, her need for control had morphed into manipulation, secrecy, and a hunger for attention that bordered on recklessness. Trips she took, friends she met, late nights out, it all carried layers she assumed I wouldn't notice. And beneath this simple text, I could feel it, that tiny spark of thrill, that tension she thought I'd miss. I remember the day I installed the hidden cameras. Not because I didn't trust her, but because experience had taught me to anticipate the unexpected. People reveal who they truly are when they think no one is watching. Tonight, Clara would do exactly that, unknowingly. The flight home had been long, but anticipation stretched every minute. With every mile closer, curiosity and quiet dread tightened in my chest. I thought back to the past week, her sudden burst of excitement, the late-night messages, her insistence on going out when I had asked to spend time together. I had let it slide, pretending ignorance, watching silently. Tonight would be different. Tonight, she would learn that nothing escapes my notice. By the time I arrived, the apartment glowed softly through the blinds. I stepped inside, letting the door click shut behind me unseen. Clara moved across the room, lost in her phone, laughing as if sharing a private joke with someone I wasn't meant to know about. I observed silently, every detail etched into my mind. The tilt of her head, the curve of her smile, the flicker of nervousness in her eyes as she checked her messages again. Clara didn't hear me, didn't see me standing quietly in the shadows. She was lost in her little world, laughing at messages, adjusting her hair, checking her reflection. That tiny sense of freedom, that thrill of secrecy, would be her undoing. I had learned long ago that people reveal their true selves when they believe no one is watching. And tonight, Clara would prove it. I thought about the trips, the parties, the late nights she insisted on attending. At the time, I had trusted her, respected her independence, believing marriage meant partnership, not control. But the pattern had become impossible to ignore. Subtle lies, vague excuses, moments of distraction, all threads weaving a tapestry of deceit. I had tested her before, gently probing, offering understanding, try to catch the truth without confrontation. But tonight wasn't about gentle tests. Tonight was about clarity. I stepped closer, careful not to make a sound. She glanced at the TV, laughing at a notification, oblivious that I could see her every move. Curiosity had shifted into necessity. I needed to witness firsthand what had been whispered about, hinted at, almost denied. My heart stayed calm, but anticipation churned beneath the surface. Finally, she looked up, scanning the room, maybe for me, maybe for an imaginary audience she thought she was entertaining. "I'm home," she murmured, a faint smile playing on her lips. I didn't respond. I let the silence stretch, letting the quiet weight of observation press on her, subtle but undeniable. A flicker of awareness passed over her. Her fingers hovered over her phone. Her chest rose and fell more quickly, doubt creeping into her gaze. She moved toward the kitchen, pouring a glass of wine, laughing softly as if nothing had changed. But every movement revealed more than she intended. I had learned to read her body language, the small tells, the inconsistencies between words and action. Every gesture was confession, every glance a subtle betrayal. I stayed still, letting her believe she remained in control, letting her actions speak louder than any confrontation ever could. Tension thickened until it felt almost physical. Then, as she reached for her glass, I decided it was time for her to fully understand. I had seen everything. The game she thought she controlled was over. Clara froze mid-motion, the wine glass trembling slightly in her hand. Confidence vanished, replaced by unease she could no longer hide. Her eyes darted around, searching for me, realizing she had been observed the entire time. I stepped forward slowly, deliberately, my presence calm, unhurried, impossible to ignore. "Funny," I said softly, lifting my glass just slightly. "You said you were home waiting for me, and yet here you are, completely unaware that I've been watching." My voice was quiet, but sharp, cutting through the room in a way no shout could. Her lips parted, words failing her. The lies, the secret trips, the hidden excitement. They had all been seen, recorded, known. All attempts at charm, manipulation, and testing boundaries crumbled under the weight of calm observation. I didn't need to yell. I didn't need to accuse. The truth spoke for itself. Clara's silence became confession. Every twitch, every nervous glance, every forced smile revealed her actions. I took another slow sip of wine, letting the moment linger, letting her feel the full weight of her choices. "I trusted you," I said finally, measured, almost mournful. "I gave you every chance to respect that trust. But you made your choice. You chose secrecy, excitement, and control over honesty and partnership." She lowered her gaze, shame mingling with frustration. She tried to reach for an explanation, a justification. But I raised a hand. "There's nothing to explain. Actions speak louder than words. Clara, tonight, your actions have said everything I needed to know." The apartment felt heavy, thick with the tension of unspoken truths. The thrill she had sought outside had returned home, not as freedom, but as reckoning. Finally, she sank into the nearest chair, silent, consumed by the consequences of her recklessness. I finished my wine, setting the glass down deliberately. The balance of power had shifted. The games, the manipulation, the tests, they were over. Clara had seen the truth. Actions have weight, trust is earned, and boundaries are never to be crossed lightly. I turned to the window, letting her stew in realization. Tonight had been a quiet confrontation, a subtle reckoning, a lesson she would not forget. And though the future of our marriage remained uncertain, one fact was undeniable. I would never allow deception, secrecy, or manipulation to go unchallenged again.